morning and welcome everyone. We apologize for the delay. We were experiencing some technical difficulties, but we're back on stream. So good morning and welcome everyone. Today is December 15th. Some housekeeping matters before we begin our hearing today. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto Committee of Adjustment, virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using the WebEx. It's an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on the YouTube channel. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone, or tablet app. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. All registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you mute all of your personal devices, including the YouTube stream, when you're not speaking to prevent transmission of background noise and minimize disruption to the meeting. Please unmute your computer microphones before speaking, and please ensure to mute the YouTube streaming while you're speaking as well. The hearing will take at a slower pace. Each item will be stated, and then a moment will be given to allow everyone time to find their place. Please write down the WebEx meeting access code and attendee ID from your WebEx meeting invitation and keep it nearby for quick reference. If you experience lag or audio issues, disconnect and call into the hearing and enter this information. The WebEx phone number is, I will repeat, 416-915-6530, and the access code is 177 352-4662. This is also a WebEx event number, 177-352-4662. Please call into the hearing with the phone number that you have registered with so that staff can recognize your number and unmute when your item comes up. Before we begin our hearing, we acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment for the City of Toronto is now called to order. Today, the agenda includes items 1 through 9 that are items from the Toronto East York District. The remainder of the items from items 10 to 28 are from the Scarborough District. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for minor variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw, permissions to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consents to create new lots. To ensure a fair and a timely hearing, I will vet the agenda to determine which applications can be dealt with immediately and which applications require in-depth review. The applicant is able to give comment on addressing the committee, clearly stating the insignificant items about the applicable agent of the presentation. Please note that we will not assume the future of the presentation
through the chair. We're having some sound issues. The volumes are quite low, so I would suggest we recess briefly until we fix the sound issue.
Thank you, Captain. So, staff is advised that there are some technical difficulties, so we will pause for a few minutes and then we can
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Short?
Oh.
No, but are we going to be on? Are we testing this or are we live? because we're on recess right now.
Okay.
It's working? Okay, so we'll reconvene. Okay, fair enough.
Thanks everyone for your patience. So we were just about to review the minutes of the last meeting. So the committee has received 3 meeting minutes from October 14th, which is from the Scarborough district. So may I have a mover on adopting the minutes of October 14th Scarborough district hearing?
Madam Chair, I will move we adopt the minutes for October the 14th.
May I have a seconder, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'll second that.
All in favor? Motion carries. The minutes of the meeting from October 14 have been adopted.
Through the chair, did all the people vote?
Yes. Did all the people vote? No.
So Member Taylor did not vote on this. I just want to, for the record.
I see. Okay, thank you. So Member Taylor did not vote on this item because he was not present at the October 14th hearing. So I will confirm it was moved by Member Macaulay, seconded by Member Gary, and everyone was in favor from the Scarborough district. All right, motion carries. The minutes of the meeting from October 14th have been adopted. November 12th is the meeting for the TEY items, and Member Taylor, you were present at that meeting. Members, we have received the minutes of the hearing from November 12th, the TEY hearing. May I have a mover?
Madam Chair, I'll move adoption of the meetings for the meeting held on, the minutes held for the meeting on November 12th.
May I have a seconder?
Madam Chair, I will second the motion for approval of the minutes of meeting November 12th.
Member St seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. The minutes of the meeting from November 12th have been adopted. We now move to minutes of the meeting of November 24th. Again, Member Taylor was not present at that hearing. He will not be voting on this item. May I have a mover on the minutes from November 24th? Member Said.
Madam Chair, I will move the motion for approval of minutes of meeting dated November 24th.
May I have a seconder?
And Madam Chair, I'll second that motion to accept the minutes of November 24th.
Member Mackay seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? Motion's carried. The minutes of the meeting from November 24th Scarborough district have been adopted. Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest of panel or staff today? I see none. Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, have you received any deferral requests?
Through the chair, I've received six deferral requests. The first one is item 3, 20 Quarry Court. There is a request for deferral sine die from the applicant to have additional time to address concerns raised by the neighbors.
Right, thank you, Colin. Harry, do we have the agent online, Rainer Hoyer? Yes. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Is this Rainer?
Yeah, Rainer Hoyer, the agent for 20 Quarry Court. We're asking for deferral to give us more time to negotiate with the neighbors and make changes to the application.
Okay, thank you, Rainer. Because we have 3 registered members, I would like to check in with them if they're available and to give them a chance to learn about this request for deferral. So Jessica McCloy.
Through the chair, Jessica has not signed in today.
Thank you. Helen. Is Helen with us?
Yes, she is.
Hi, Helen.
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, Helen, just stay with us for a moment. We also have Leah as the opposition member. Is Leah with us? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. So, Helen and Leah, we have a request of deferral from Reiner, the applicant on the application. He's requesting the committee to defer the matter today to allow more time to negotiate with the residents and the neighbors. So I just wanted to let you know, are there any concerns with this request at this time?
No, I have no concerns with the deferral.
Okay, thank you. And Helen?
To the outline my issues or my concerns to the committee today, and I don't know if I'm permitted to do so. Or do I have to wait until further negotiations take place?
That would be the course of action. Should the committee defer this item today, the matter will be deferred. You will get an opportunity to negotiate or discuss it with the agent. And when the application is back before the committee in the next few months, you will certainly have the opportunity to register and express your concerns if you would have at that time. Is that okay with you, Helen?
That works for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen, for your time. Members of the committee, we have a request for deferral on this item, item 3, which is 20 QUARRY Court. Any concerns with this request? I see none. If there are no concerns, may I have a motion on the deferral request?
Madam Chair, I'd move to defer this item 3 on our agenda. I think the cause is very reasonable, so there can be a chance to discuss with neighbors. So I move that we defer this item sine die.
Thank you, Member Mackay. Seconder? Member Said?
Madam Chair, I will second the motion for deferral of this application.
Thank you. So it's been moved by Member Mackay, seconded by Member Said. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried. The application for 20 QUARRY Court has been deferred sine die. Thank you.
Through the chair, I understand that we are experiencing an echo with the sound. So I would suggest before we get to the next set of deferrals, we take a very quick recess again. I really apologize.
That's okay. Okay, thank you, Colin. So we've been advised that there are still some technical issues. There's some echo in the streaming, so we will pause for a moment and allow this issue to be fixed. Thank you.
Good morning, Margaret. Are you there? Margaret Toronto, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Margaret. Is your last name Toronto or is it McCrae?
Great.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I heard you right. Okay, stay tuned. Thank you.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing.
All laptops are muted right now. It was a couple of them were actually was on, so we muted them all. Is it okay now?
Well, no, can we just, like,
Test. Like,
are
yeah.
they on YouTube right now?
Yeah.
Is Paul on YouTube? I can hear it on YouTube, it's got the slide. Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, great, so we'll reconvene.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We're back. Thank you for your patience. We will now continue with the requests for deferral. At this time, we have deferred item number 3, which was for 20 Quarry Court. We now move on to our second request, Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer.
Through the chair, the second request is item 7, which is 82 Dearborn Avenue. It's a deferral sine die, and the reason why is because the requested variances were incorrectly identified in the public hearing notice.
Okay, thank you. So, Carrie, do we have Paul online, who is the agent?
Yes, Paul is here.
Hi, good morning, Paul. So, Paul, we have before us a request for deferral from you?
No, it wasn't from us. It was the city that requested because the city needed to make a change to the list of variances.
Okay.
And that's why we're here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for clarifying that. I guess we don't need to touch base with the owner, right? The next person who has registered to speak today is Jamie. Jamie, you're with us?
Through the chair, Jamie has not checked in today.
Okay, thank you very much. So, members of the committee, we have a request for deferral before us. Some variances were not identified in the public notice, and hence this application is being requested to be deferred. Any concerns with this request? I see none. If there are no concerns, may I have a motion? Member Said.
Madam Chair, I will move the motion for deferral of item number 7.
May I have a seconder, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'll second that motion to defer.
Member Mackay seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Application for 82 Dearborn Avenue has been deferred. Sine Dal.
Through the chair, I'm sorry to do this. I'm hearing, I received an email that there still is a repeat echo that's being heard by some of our viewers. So I would ask respectfully if we can recess very quickly.
Okay.
Again.
Okay. Seems like a pattern now. Okay, so for those of you listening, we are still experiencing some technical issues, so we will pause for a moment again, and we really apologize for this inconvenience. Thank you.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So welcome everyone. We sincerely apologize again for the inconvenience. We hope that the issues have been resolved and we can continue without any glitches moving forward. So we were dealing with, or we dealt with item number 2 for, sorry, not item 2, but the second item for a deferral, which was item 7, 82 Dearborn Avenue, that has been dealt with. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, do we have other requests for deferral?
The third item for deferral is item 12, 19 Arbutus Crescent. It's this application should be deferred sine die because the owner failed to post the sign on the property 10 days before the hearing, and also the applicant has also requested an opportunity to address concerns raised by the councillor. So for those reasons, they wish to defer the application.
Okay,
Sine die.
thank you, Colin. So just checking, do we have the agent online, Jonathan?
Yes, I'm here, Madam Chair.
All right, good morning, Jonathan. Please stay with us. So the request for deferral is before us. Let me check with the committee. Committee members, do we have any concerns with the request for deferral for item number 12, which is 19 Arbutus Crescent? I see none. There are no concerns. May I have a mover on the request? Member Mackay.
Madam Chair, for the reasons stated, I move that this matter be deferred sine die.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please?
I'll second the motion, Madam Chair.
Member Taylor seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Item 12 for 19 Arbutus Crescent has been deferred sine die. Thank you. Next request for deferral, please.
Through the chair, item 23, 201 Rouge Hills Drive. It's a deferral sine die request received from the applicant in order to have additional time to address concerns raised by the neighbors regarding the application.
Okay, thank you, Colin. So we have with us the agent, Sabah.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. So we have a request for deferral from you to defer this matter sine die to provide opportunity to you to discuss the concerns raised by the neighbors.
Yes, Madam Chair. We did have a meeting with them on Friday, and we are working with them to revise our application. And so we needed more time to do so.
Okay, thank you very much. Carrie, could you please check, do we have Asgar, the neighbor who registered in opposition?
Through the chair, none of the opposition speakers have checked in this morning.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. So we had Asgar, Kevin, Bill, and Elizabeth Meek, and none of them have registered. None of them have signed in this morning. So committee members, we have a request for deferral for reasons as stated, as you heard. Any concerns with the requests for deferral? I see none. May I have a mover, Member Macaulay?
Madam Chair, I recommend deferral for to give the opportunity for the agent to meet with the neighbors.
Okay, may I have a seconder?
Yes, Madam Chair. I would second that motion to defer.
Right. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. The application has been deferred sine die. Thank you very much, Sabah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Next request.
Through the chair, the fourth deferral is item 25, 2500 Lawrence Avenue. It's the deferral request, sine die, is required because the requested variances were incorrectly identified in the public hearing notice.
Okay, thank you. So, Carrie, do we have Maria and Mark, who are the tenants or the applicants?
Yes, we're here.
Okay, thank you. So we have a request for deferral before us because of inaccurate variances included on the public notice. Members of the committee, any concerns with this request for deferral? I see none. If there are no concerns or questions, may I have a motion? Member Said.
Madam Chair, I move the motion for deferral of item number 25.
And this is sine die?
Sine die.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, I would second that motion to defer.
Member Mackay seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried. The application for 2500 Lawrence Avenue East has been deferred sine die. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next request, please.
Through the chair, the next request is item 26. It's two applications at 55 Harewood, Parts 1 and Part 2. And the deferral request is required because the owner failed to post the sign on the property 10 days before the hearing, and also at the request of the applicant to address concerns identified by the councillor.
Thank you. We have with us Jonathan.
I'm here, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Carrie, do we have Tom Cassandra, who had registered in opposition to speak in opposition? Tom, are you with us? Tom? We can't hear you, Tom. We can see you're speaking. We can't hear you. Could you unmute yourself? No, we can't hear you. Sorry. Just bear with us. Could you try again, please, Tom? Tom, can you hear us?
Who?
Hello, Tom?
Hello?
Hello, are you with us, Tom? You're on stream right now.
Tom Cassandra?
Yes, Tom Cassandra. Are you Tom Cassandra?
Oh, sorry, here I am.
Okay, so we're dealing with the matter which is before us. There's a request for deferral for 55 Harewood Avenue for both parts 1 and 2, and you have registered with us as a member to speak in opposition. So we were checking if you were there and to let you know that this is the matter that's before us requesting for deferral. Do you have any concerns with this request?
I believe the reason for the deferral was because it was improperly posted?
Yes, so the request...
Okay. I have no objections to the deferral.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Yes. So as you said, the reason for deferral was because the sign was not posted on the property in the for the right time, at the right time, as well as the applicant would like to meet with the neighbors or to address some concerns that have been raised by the councillors. So, members of the committee, any concerns with this request for deferral? I see none. If there are no concerns, may I please have a motion? Member Mackay.
Madam Chair, yes, to ensure proper public notice, I move that this item be deferred sine die.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please?
Second, Madam Chair.
Member Taylor seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Item 26 for 55 Harewood Avenue, Parts 1 and 2 has been deferred sine die.
Thank you.
Any other requests for deferral?
Through the chair, those are all the requests. There's a total of, for this hearing, a total of 6 deferral requests. I think you've covered them all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Colin. So we have dealt with all the items that were requested for deferral. All matters or all requests have been deferred. I will now vet the agenda. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda and ask if anyone other than the agent or the applicant is present and wishes to speak and address the committee today. If there are people in interest, the matter will be held until all non-contested applications have been cleared from the agenda. If there is no person in interest, the agent or the applicant will proceed with their presentation. If required, the committee may ask questions or take the matter into committee for a decision. I will now start with the vetting of the agenda, starting from the first item. So item number 1 is for 948 Carlaw Avenue. And we have with us the agent, Vanessa. We have 2 members of public who have registered to speak, Maria and Tony. So this matter will be held and we will come back to it in the main body. So Vanessa, Maria and Tony, if you're listening, this matter is being held and we will come back to it for further discussion. Item 1 has been held. Item number 2 is for 13 Musgrave Street. Again, for the same reasons, we have a few members who have registered in opposition. So Roman's the agent, Louis is in support, Chris, Harrison, Valerie, and Dale have registered in opposition. So if you're listening to us, please note that this matter is being held and we will come back to it for further discussion. Item 3 was deferred. Item 4, 1 Ralston Avenue. We have Muhammad Ibrahim as the agent, but again, we have 2 members in opposition, Gordon Fernandez, Sabrina Vela, and Stephanos Polonifis in opposition. So, folks, if you're listening to us, please note that this is being held for further discussion. We now move to item 5. Item 5 is 36 CREWE Avenue. And we have the agent and the owner, Janice and Natalia and Aniva as a designer. We do not have any members from public who are in opposition who have registered. Members of the committee, do you have any questions on this application of the applicant or the designer? Any concerns, any questions? None? If there are no questions, before I do that, Janice, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. So Janice, we're discussing your application and I'm checking with the committee if there are any questions or concerns. I see none. Members of the committee, there are no questions or concerns. Are you prepared to put forward a motion on this application? This is 36 CREWE Avenue. Member Said.
Madam Chair, I will move the motion for approval of item number 5, and there are no conditions attached to that.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor to approve the application, and there are no conditions. May I have a seconder? Member Macaulay?
And Madam Chair, I will second that motion.
All right, Member Macaulay seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried and the application has been approved without any conditions. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you and have a nice day.
Thanks. So item 5 has been approved. We now move to item number 6. Item number 6 is 1268 Broadview Avenue. We have listed with us Leonid as the agent and the previous owner and Margaret McRae in opposition. So we will hold down this item for further discussion and come back to it. So Leonid and Margaret, please note your item has been held for further discussion. We now move, okay, item 7 has been deferred. Item 8, 434 Rhodes Avenue. And we have with us Mike, the agent, Peggy Smart, who has registered in opposition, and we also, and that's about it. So given that we have a member in opposition, we will hold down this item and come back to it for further discussion. So Mike and Peggy, please stay tuned. We will come back to this item for further discussion. Item number 9. We didn't deal with this one, right? No. Okay. So item number 9, which is 2 Homestead Avenue for 2 parts, parts A and B. The agent is Leo Mastrandria, and this is an application for minor variance, and we have before us 9 variances for Part A and 8 variances for Part B. Leo, you're with us?
Yes, I am, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Please stay with us for a moment. Members of the committee, any questions for Leo at this time? Or any concerns with the application that you would like to hold on this item? I see none. Are there any conditions of urban forestry? There are conditions of urban forestry. Okay. Leo, are you aware of the conditions of urban forestry?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. If there are no questions or concerns at this time, could I please have a motion? Member Macaulay.
Madam Chair, I recommend approval of this variance application for both property. No, yes, it's 2 properties here.
For 2 lots?
2 lots, subject to the conditions of urban forestry.
Okay, so I just want to clarify that we have 2 applications, one for each part. They were all kind of lumped together on one notice, but there are 2 applications and for each lot. So we have a motion on the floor for approval of these 2 applications for the lots, and there are conditions of urban forestry. May I have a seconder, please? Member Said seconds the motion.
Madam Chair, I will second the motion for approval, subject to the urban forestry condition number 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Your application has been approved, Leo, subject to conditions of urban forestry.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We now move to item number 10. Item number 10 is for 178A and 178B, South Woodrow Boulevard. Again, we have 2 applications before us. And I do see that we have a few members of public who have registered to speak. So Peter is the agent, and we have Carmen Ho, Anita Mack, and Elizabeth Payne registered to speak in opposition. So we will hold down this item and come back to it for further discussion. So item 10 for 178A and B on South Woodrow Boulevard has been held. We now move to item 11. Item 11 is 187 Fallingbrook Road. We have the agent Ali Yarbakhti.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. I would like to check. We do have an immediate neighbor, but I'm not sure if that person is in opposition or in support.
Through the chair, I've been advised that they are in opposition, yet they have not signed in today.
Okay. In that case, I would like to defer in decision on this and come back to it at the end of the vetting to see if Sean is available, and we'll go from there. Thank you. So item 11 is been held for a few moments until we give a chance for Sean Rahim to register to sign in. We now move to item 12, which has been deferred. Item 13, 142 Audrey Avenue. And again, we have the agent Marilyn, but we have two members in opposition, Trevor Harris and Jennifer Beswick, who have signed in today. But because this needs further discussion, so we will hold down this item. So item 13 for 142 Audrey Avenue is being held for further discussion. Thank you. We now move to item 14. Item 14 is 53 SAUGEEN Crescent, and we have with us the agent Ali Tanha. Ali, are you with us?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm present.
Okay, thank you very much. Ali, are you aware that there's a planning, community planning staff report recommending a condition? And this.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay, and you have no concerns with the recommended condition?
No.
Okay. You are also aware of the staff report from Transportation Services?
Yes, I've read that.
And there was a condition in the memo regarding reinstating the unused portion of the driveway?
Yes, we have no issues with that.
Okay, perfect. Members of the committee, any questions or concerns with this application at this time? Member Said.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Beside community planning and transportation, I think there are conditions of urban forestry as well.
Okay. Ali, are you aware of the conditions of urban forestry?
Yes, we have had communications with them. I'm
Okay.
aware and I have no objections to that.
Thank you very much. Members of the committee, any further questions or comments? I see none. May I please have a motion on this application? Member Taylor.
Madam Chair, I find the requested variances to meet the four conditions under the Planning Act, and I move for approval subject to urban forestry condition number 2 and the conditions of the Planning Department and Transportation Services.
Okay. May I have a seconder, please? Member Said seconds the motion.
Madam Chair, I second the motion for approval subject to the condition of community planning, transportation, and urban forestry.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. The application has been approved for 53 SAUGEEN Crescent, subject to conditions as mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you.
We now move to item 15. Item 15 is 12 Port Royal Trail. And we have Nicole Parr as the agent. And we also have a member registered in opposition, H.W. Lee. So we will hold down this item and come back to it in the main body. Thank you. Item 16 is 19 Ferncroft Drive. 19 Ferncroft Drive, and we have Jonathan as the agent, but we also have a member from public, Frank Beecroft, registered with us and online with us, who would like to speak in opposition. So we will hold down this item and come back to it in the main body. Thank you. So Jonathan and Frank, please stay with us for a few minutes. Item 17. This is for 59B A and B Jevons Avenue, and the agent we have is Peter Jurosik. We also have with us member in opposition, Tom Cassanda. So we will hold down this item and come back to it. So Peter and Tom, please stay with us. We are holding down this item for further discussion. Item 18. Item 18 is for 70 Marble Arch Crescent, and we have with us Robin. However, we also have received a memo from Urban Forestry recommending refusal of this application, and we would like to give an opportunity to the applicant to provide his case. So we will hold down this item and come back to it in the main body. So Robin, please stay with us. We will come back to it for further discussion. Item 19 is 61 Kildonan Drive. And we have with us Leo as the agent. And we also have a member registered with us, Mr. Zhang or Ms. Zhang and Fan, last names. Sorry, I can't pronounce the first names.
Through the chair, these people have not checked in today.
Okay. So I guess we have to, well, I'll come back to it at the end of the vetting to confirm if they're available. So I'm dealing with item 19, which is 61 Kildonan Drive. So members of public who have registered in opposition, last names being Zhang and Fan. If you are listening, please tune in if you wish to speak. Otherwise, we will proceed with making a decision on this application. We now go to item 20. Item 20 is 22 Flora Drive. We have Thomas Goral as the agent and Henry Tolentino as the owner. But we also have Melissa Lowe. Is Melissa online with us? I would like to check if she would like to speak in opposition or support. Melissa? Melissa Lowe, are you with us? Melissa Lowe. We can't hear you, Melissa. Could you speak? Therefore, okay. All right, so we are going to hold down this item. I think Melissa's having some difficulty in connecting with us. So we will hold down this item and come back to it at the end of the vetting to see. And Melissa, if you're listening, please look into connecting with us. We couldn't hear you. We could see your name popping up, but we couldn't hear you. So I will come back. I will check in with you in a few minutes. Item 21 is 38 Willow Lee Drive. And we have with us Sean Tusi as the agent. Sean, are you with us?
Hi, Madam Chair and members of the committee.
Hi, good morning, Sean. So we have your application before us to construct a new 2-story detached dwelling, and we have 3 variances before us. I don't see, are there any conditions of urban forestry on this one? None? Okay. Members of the committee, any questions or concerns on this application at this time that you would like this to be held? I see none. If there are no questions or concerns, may I have a motion? Member Macaulay.
Madam Chair, I recommend approval of this application. There are no conditions. I believe it meets all the tests and provides for development on Willow Lee.
Okay. May I have a seconder, please?
Madam Chair, I'll second that motion to approve.
Okay, Member Mackay seconds the motion for approval. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried and application for 38 Willow Drive has been approved and there are no conditions.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We now move to item 22. Item 22 is 41 Cliff Crest Drive. And we have Peter Giordano as the agent. But we also have Stephen Quinn in opposition.
Through the chair, Stephen has not checked in today yet.
Okay, Stephen, if you are listening, we will give you a few minutes to log in and sign in to speak with us. If you wish to speak, we are vetting the agenda. I will check back with you at the end of the agenda. Item 23 was deferred. Item 24, 88 Hart Avenue. And we have with us Raman Sandhu. Are you with us, Raman?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. So members of the committee, we have before us the application from Raman to construct an extension of the existing garage for storage uses only, and we have before us 2 variances. Any questions for Raman? And I don't see there was any condition. If there are no questions or concerns at this time, may I please have a motion? This is application for 88 Hart Avenue. Member Macaulay.
Madam Chair, I recommend approval of this variance to permit the construction extension to the garage for storage uses only. There are no conditions. I believe it is a minor variance and it meets the 4 tests.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Please go ahead. Member Taylor?
I second the motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Member Taylor seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Application for 88 Hart Avenue has been approved.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Item 25 and 26 were deferred. We now move to item 27. Item 27 is 96 Pitt Avenue. And there are no members who have registered in opposition. We have urban forestry memo as well. Okay. Russ or Shane, are you with us?
Yes, Madam Chair. It's Russ Gregory here.
Okay, thank you, Russ. Just stay with us for a minute. Members of the committee, any questions for Russ on this application at this time? See none. And Russ, you're aware of the urban forestry condition?
Yes, I am. Yes, I read through that.
Okay, and you have no issues with that?
None at all. No.
Okay, perfect. Members of the committee, there are no concerns. May I please have a motion on this application? Member Taylor?
Madam Chair, I find the variances to be in keeping with the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and I move for approval without conditions.
There are conditions.
Oh, so I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Subject to urban forestry's condition number 3, doubled.
Okay, times 2. Okay.
Through the chair, sorry. Also the standard conditions as well.
Perfect, thank you. Yes, I should have mentioned that. This is a combined application for consent and minor variance. So we didn't see anything from engineering, but there are standard conditions of consent.
Yes, just on the standard conditions are just on the consent application.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so Don.
I accept that friendly amendment, Madam Chair.
Okay, so we have a motion before us to approve the consent and the associated minor variance application for 96 Pitt Avenue, subject to the consent application being subject to standard conditions of consent, as well as the urban forestry conditions. May I have a seconder, please? Member Said?
Madam Chair, I second the motion subject to the standard condition of consent application as well as urban forestry conditions.
Okay. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried. The applications for both consent and minor variances have been approved.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, this brings us to the last item on the agenda, item 28, and this is for 20 Gildcrest Drive. And this definitely needs to be held. We have a long list of members who have registered to speak. And for those who have tuned in for or signed in for item 28 for 20 Gildcrest Drive, I see there are a number of residents who are in opposition, I would like to remind them to ensure that the comments or concerns are not repeated. If you wish to select a spokesperson to deliver the comments or concerns, please do so and let us know when we are back on this item. We certainly want to hear your views, but repeating the same comments or concerns will not advance the cause. So I would respectfully request the members to discuss this amongst your group. Thank you. So which brings us back to, again, I will still continuing vetting the agenda. We did hold back on a couple of items to check in. The first item that we held to check in was for item 11, 187 Fallingbrook Road, and I believe we were waiting to see if Sean had signed in. Sean Rahim, are you with us?
Through the chair, Sean has not signed in.
Okay, so I think we gave ample opportunity for Sean to sign in. We checked again, we didn't hear from him. So I will now move to the committee. And Ali, are you with us? Ali Yarbakti.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right. So we checked again to see if Sean Rahim had signed in, but he has not signed in. So I will now move to the committee to see if committee has any questions at this time or concerns with this application or want to hold on this item. This is an application to construct a new 2-story north side addition and 2nd-story addition over the existing detached dwelling, and we have before us 8 variances. Members of the committee, if there are no questions or concerns, may I have a motion? Member Said.
Madam Chair, I will move the motion for approval of item number 11, and there are no conditions attached to that.
Perfect. May I have a seconder? Member Taylor?
I'll second the motion, Madam Chair.
Member Taylor seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried and the application for 187 Fallingbrook Road has been approved and there are no conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. The other item that we had briefly held to check if the members had signed in was item 19 for 61 Kildonan Drive. And Zhang and last name Fan, are you with us?
Through the chair, these people have not checked in.
Okay, so carrying on the same pattern, we gave ample opportunity for last name Zhang and last name Fan to connect and to sign in today to speak with us, but they didn't, so we will proceed. So Leo, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so we're dealing with your item 19, which is at 61 Kildonan Drive, and we have before us the application to construct a new 2-story Southside addition, new deck, and there was a previous permit issued to construct a 2-story rear addition. We have before us 5 variances. Leo, are you aware that transport...
Yeah, hold on a second.
That's not Leo.
Hello?
Hi, that wasn't Leo. Leo, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Hello?
Okay, perfect. No, I think there was a little bit of a glitch there. So we have you online and we can hear you well. So Leo, you have, you may have seen Transportation Services memo. They have no objections to the variances, but they recommend that the proposed parking space must be entirely located within the public property. Oh, sorry, within the private property, without extending
Which
into...
it is.
Okay.
Just about a meter sticking out from the front wall. Well, we had a conversation there. Okay with that?
You're okay with this recommendation? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Members of the committee, any questions for Leo? Member Macaulay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Leo, I note that the neighbor next door has written in an objection for to the small addition that you're putting on the side yard here. And his concern is that it's going to be very close to him for access to maintain his property. I took a look at that addition and your request, and I'm not sure why the addition, or what is the purpose of the addition. It looks to me to only have 2 doors and a wall, and I wonder, have you considered whether you could speak to the neighbor next door and not have such an addition so close to his property line?
We did speak to the neighbor, and since they submitted the letter, we spoke to them, and they didn't understand that. They thought that that space we have of 0.47 is between the houses, not from our property line. So when we clarified that, she did not have any further concerns, and she said she was going to withdraw her letter.
Okay, so we still have.
Member Macaulay, if I may remind you, we're vetting the agenda. We're not deliberating.
Oh, I'm
on
sorry.
it. So do you want to hold this for further discussion, or are you good with for now?
Let's hold this for further discussion.
Okay. So Member Macaulay would like to have additional discussion, Leo, on this. So I will have to hold down this item because right now I'm only doing the vetting. Okay. So item 19, item 19 for 61 Kildonan Drive has been held for further discussion. Okay. The other item that was held to check in, if members in opposition had signed in, item 20 for 22 Flora Drive, and we would like to see if Melissa Lowe has checked in. Yes, yes. Melissa, you had some. Hi.
Hi, yes.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Melissa, you have registered with us, but we're not sure if you are speaking in opposition to this application or in support.
I just received a letter, but then I don't understand what is going on with the 22 Flora Drive.
Okay. So, why don't we hold down this item, right? It's a small application. So, Melissa, well, how about this? We are going to hold down this item for a bit, and then we will give a chance to the agent or the owner to explain to you what is the purpose of this application so that you understand. Okay? Is that okay with you? We're going to hold down this item.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but do stay with us, okay? Don't sign out because, and I'll let you know that it'll take a while for us to come back to this item, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. So item 20, so Thomas, Goral, and Henry, if you're listening, please note that this item is being held. Melissa, who has signed in, would needs to understand this application a bit more. Thank you. Item 20 is being held. We also held item 22 for 41 Cliff Crest Drive to check in if Stephen Quinn was was online. So Stephen, are you with us?
I am with you. I had been watching it in error on the YouTube channel. So yeah, I'm here, and I'm not here to dispute this. I'm here to listen to the process.
Oh, I see. So you're not okay. So
I'm
you're
not against.
Okay, all right. So you just want to view and observe this, right?
Yeah, but it's been brutal, so I may just drop off. Sorry.
Okay, so just so you know, we are vetting the agenda, which means because we saw your name, we wanted to check with you if you wanted to speak. So the process here on is that we will take this matter into committee, and if the committee has no further questions or concerns, we will make a decision on this right away. Okay? So
fair enough.
Thank you. So Peter, So Peter Giordano, are you the agent and you're online with us?
Hi, Madam Chair. Yes, I am.
Okay. So members of the committee, we're dealing with 41 Cliff Crest Drive. We confirmed that the resident is just observing this hearing. And we have before us the application for minor variances, and we have 6 variances before us. Any questions for Peter Giordano at this time?
Madam Chair, I note that there's an urban forestry condition.
Your mic's not on, Member McKay.
Sorry, Madam Chair. I note that there's a condition of urban forestry. I want to ask the applicant's agent if he's familiar with that. And I also see that TRCA had a look at this matter and they have no objection. So I wonder if you could comment, the agent.
Yes, absolutely. We're aware of the urban forestry comments and we're fine with those.
Okay. All right, thank you. If there are no further questions or comments, are you prepared to put forward a motion on this application? Member Said?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I understand that the matter has been thoroughly looked into by TRCA, and the applicant is aware of urban forestry condition number 2. In view of that, I am willing to move the motion for approval of item 22.
Subject to?
Subject to condition of urban forestry.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the application subject to conditions of urban forestry. Member McKay?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'll second that motion to approve subject to the urban forestry condition.
Okay. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried. The application for 41 Cliff Crest Drive has been approved subject to conditions of urban forestry. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, that brings us to the end of checking with everyone to make sure everyone who has signed in to speak is signed in, and the matters that had to be dealt with have been dealt. We are now going to start again with our agenda and deal with all those matters that have been held. To confirm, item 1, item 2, item 4, item 6, item 8, item 10, item 13, item 15, item 16, item 17, item 18, item 19, item 20, and item 28 have been held. Okay, thank you. Committee members, and for those of you listening, just I will remind at 12:30 we will have to take a break to allow a refreshment break as well as the YouTube streaming. So staff, if you can just confirm what the process will be.
So through the chair, the reason why we're taking a break at 12:30 is to allow for not only for a break, but also for the members, but also to switch the YouTube stream from the AM stream to the PM stream. And by doing so, that allows, the reason why we do it after 4 hours, it allows for closed captioning of the YouTube stream. It usually happens about 24 hours after the stream has ended, but it does allow for that functionality. So when we do have the break and we do call the break, we will remind all the viewers to please switch over to the PM stream. But right now, we're on the AM stream.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Colin. I wanted to remind just so that everyone has a heads up. Starting with the first item that was held, item 1. And item 1 is an application before us for 948 Carlaw Avenue. And this is a Toronto East York application. This is an application a minor variance application to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling. And we have before us 9 variances. Okay. And we have 2 members who have registered in opposition. We also have letters of support on file. We also have received letter of objection. So I just wanted to put that on record. Vanessa Fong. Vanessa, are you with us?
Hi, yes, Vanessa here.
Okay, thank you. Just bear with us. Maria Gaglies.
Hello? I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Tony Gagliese?
I'm here, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. So Maria and Tony, just stay with us. We will start off with the applicant and the committee, and then we'll come to you shortly. So members of the committee, Vanessa is with us. Would you like to have a presentation from Vanessa, or would you like to dive right into the questions? Any questions for Vanessa?
Madam Chair, I would like to hear from the objectors first, please.
Okay, all right. Before I do that, Vanessa, would you like to would you like to say anything to us before we move on to the opposition members?
Yes, I would like to present if possible.
Please go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Perfect. Okay, great. There is also a presentation of 5 slides that was submitted. If that could be brought up, that would be appreciated. So Chair Committee, this application we have in front of us is a unique, but I would also say probably a common scenario that's coming up more and more. We have a property that is a corner lot that was purchased by Andrea and Adrian, so a brother and sister, in co-ownership, essentially in order to afford to live in the city. So the need for this home is to create a multiple dwelling, so 2 dwellings for Andrea and Adrian, and each to have garden access, as we know, especially this year, access to outdoor space being quite important this day and age. So the goal of having the 2 homes, it has triggered the 9 variances before us. The site is unique, as you can see on this site plan. It's a corner lot with Carlaw along the right and Dilworth along the top, the north of the property. And across the street on Carlaw is actually Centennial College. So it's not represented on the site plan, but there's a college across the street. So it's a little bit unique in that way. Because we are corner lot, there are the 3 variances, number 7, 8, and 9, that pertain to canopy and the roof eaves that project into the side yard setback, which is to the north. But we feel these variances are minor in nature because they do not impact a direct neighbor per se, but they just face the street on Dilworth. On the next slide, we just wanted to show here the massing and the form that we have worked. We worked quite closely over the past year with the planner, and to basically carefully sculpt the massing to reduce as much impact onto the street as possible. We are asking for a 10-meter height variance, but however, as you can see, the 10-meter height, the highest point, is actually stepped back from both Carlaw, the front, as well as from the north side. So along Carlaw, we have essentially a 7.4 meter height, 2-story, which is contextually appropriate with our neighbors. And then along Dilworth, the north, we have a 9-meter height, the lower sloped roof. And the 10-meter height is actually just to the south. And so this was very strategic so that any shadows from the 10 meters really just falling on the building itself to the north. On the next slide, we did pull any previous Committee of Adjustment applications that were available. And in regards to height and FSI, we've sort of dotted in here in red other applications that we know have been approved via C of A. So there is sort of like a sprinkling of other applications that are similar to ours, which is in blue, is our site. However, the area is actually full of examples similar in nature to the proposed of 2.5 to 3-story single-family dwellings. So if we go to the next slide, we are showing here the sort of actual neighborhood situation. So again, our site is in blue on the little context map, and these are just examples in and around the area of 2.5, 3-story dwellings. And although we don't have the stats for those because these sites haven't necessarily gone through Committee of Adjustment, we would suspect that they are likely similar in nature in terms of size and scale. As Madam Chair has mentioned, we do have 12 signatures of support, all from the direct neighbors, the neighbor to the south along Dilworth, as well as sort of up and down Dilworth Street. And the owners have spoken to Maria, who is also on the line, multiple times throughout the process as well. So I think overall, we really appreciate working with our planners to get to the proposal that we have today, which we feel meets the general intent and the purpose of the city zoning and bylaw.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa. That was very, very helpful.
Thank you.
Members of the committee, any questions for Vanessa? I see none. All right, thank you. So we will now bring on Maria. Maria.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi, Madam Chair and committee. I would like to point out that the actual direct neighbor to the south, who I am going to be speaking for as she is in the hospital, has not seen these plans and has not agreed to this. She's the most impacted by this design. And I just feel like it's horrible that she's in the hospital receiving chemotherapy treatment and doesn't even know what's happening today. It's very emotional for me because I've lived beside her now for, 13 years and I feel horrible for her. But I just want to make sure they're saying that direct neighbors have signed the paper and they have not. Flora has not. I'm the next house south and I have not. I just wanted to put that in record.
Okay.
I also submitted a letter on behalf of Flora. As I mentioned, she's been in the hospital since September. She's not allowed to have visitors because of COVID. So I wasn't able to tell her what's going on.
Okay, thank you for
She does
letting
not
us
have
know.
family. Yeah, thank you. She doesn't have family, so that's why I'm speaking on her behalf. And I also, I have spoken to the new neighbors of the home, and they only reached out to me because they couldn't find Flora. So they did show me the designs, and I didn't know about 9 variances that were being requested. So I did not sign the paper, and I had many questions about their design. I especially am concerned about the height of the structure. I know they say that front facing it won't be affected, but it will be beside Flora's house. And of course my house, which is attached to Flora's house. So the height does matter. And as she mentioned, Centennial College is across the street. The home will be higher than Centennial College. And I see that she pointed out all the homes that had the height variances. Most of them were south of our homes, which is not technically East York. Those are Toronto. East York, as you would know, has a certain aesthetic, and it's the 2-level homes. This house will tower over our homes. It's going to be massive. And, outdoor space, as she mentioned, especially in 2020, has been a big deal. And now with the extension in the back of the house at Flora's backyard and my backyard, we'll see a brick wall. And if you can see from their drawings, they never show a front facing with our homes beside. It's almost like always angled, and you can't really see how it's going to affect our homes.
Okay.
That's pretty much what I want to say. And they did come knock on my door after speaking via email, and I again refused to sign.
Okay. All right. No, thank you, Maria, for letting us know. And sorry to hear about your neighbor, Flora, and we wish her health and recovery. Vanessa has heard the concerns, and when we come back to Vanessa, we will ask her to respond to the concerns that you've raised. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we now have Tony with us, Tony Gaglies.
Hi.
Hi.
To the committee and to the chairperson. My sister Maria made quite a few valid points. I just wanted to add a couple of things. The access to the garden, it's kind of ironic to lead off with garden access when you're going to erect a 3-story building that will block the sun for the 2 neighbors. So, I mean, that has to come into consideration the enjoyment of property for the 2 neighbors south of this property. There's mention of 12 people who have signed a letter of support. I'd like to see the letter of support, and when did they sign it and who signed it? Were they tenants or owners of properties? Because what I've seen had no detail like the detail you have here. It's very generic. letter saying that there's no issues. So I don't know how people would have signed. And I don't know if the Committee of Adjustment verifies these signatures and who these people are or aren't, but I think that's really important also. They're asking for 9 variances, and I'm somewhat of a math major. The minor variances range from anywhere from 18% to 80%. And in my book, 80% is not a minor variance. I got in touch with the committee and I talked to Paula White and tried to find a definition of what minor is that your committee looks at. And to my surprise, there is no definition to what minor is. So if you don't have a definition, I don't know how you can make a judgment. This reminds me very much of, death by 1,000 cuts. If everyone's allowed a minor variance, you're going to end up with major issues. So you're going to have a home, as my sister said, that's going to be taller than Centennial College across the street. And when Flora eventually, hopefully, comes home and wants to go into her yard, there will be a wall, a 10-meter wall that you're going to add to the house. So she will be basically imprisoned on one side of her home. And there will be no access to sun, and there'll be a lack of enjoyment. So I would assume you have to take that into consideration when other people are why 923 Carlaw would sign on, I don't know. They're further down. They're not impacted. If I'm not wrong, 923 is even south of Fulton. So they would have no impact at all at 923. And some of the Dilworth ones would have very little, if any, impact also. And that's all I had to say. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony. Yes, unfortunately, there's no definition of minor, and so in terms of how the committee weighs applications, whether it's minor or not, is not just numerical or quantity, it's also quality as well. So it's a combination of a lot of factors, and there are 4 tests that the committee has to run in order to make a decision on the application. So that's how we utilize that tool to make decisions on the application. So I see that majority of the concerns raised by both Maria and Tony are to deal with the height of the building, the size of the house, and the overpowering sort of nature of the proposed development. So thank you for your time, Maria and Tony. I will now go back to Vanessa. Before I do that, sorry, Vanessa, members of the committee, any questions from Maria or Tony? Okay, sorry, there are no questions. Vanessa, yes, please, go ahead.
Hi. Yes, just to help address some of the concerns, the owners do feel awful about the timing of this, and the fact that their neighbor Florence is not available to speak with them directly because she is in hospital. They did make attempts to go to her door, but obviously because she was not home, was unable to speak to them directly. In terms of the size and the idea of like sunlight being blocked on the neighboring gardens, because the house is to the north, the shadow impact would really be in the early mornings as the sun is rising. That would have a little bit of an impact onto Florence's garden, but then for essentially from mid-morning onwards, the shadow would essentially be on their own property or north of their property. So in terms of sunlight, they wouldn't have a big impact onto 946 Carlaw. In terms of the length of the building and the impact of looking at the wall, we recognize that this is a change. That in the gray dotted line, you can see where the house was before. It was actually quite a small house, but we are sticking to the 17-meter building length, which is allowed, and we aren't asking for a variance in building length. So we are sort of abiding by the bylaw in terms of the length of the overall building that's allowed. And I think in terms of receiving the signatures, just in response to Tony's questions, the owners went door to door, and apologize if I was not clear, but the adjacent neighbor I was referring to was to Dilworth, which is directly behind our site, and they did speak to all the people who were living in that home. And the signatures of support are from people living in those homes. I hope I addressed everything that was requested.
Okay. All
Sorry.
right. No, it's okay. I think you've kind of generally covered the concerns. The overall, as I said, generally they had concerns with the height of the building and then the size of the building, and so I think you've generally captured. But let's see if committee has any questions. Members of the committee, any questions for Vanessa? Member Macaulay.
Yes, I guess to Vanessa, and I was going to do this as a comment back to the objectors as well. What we have here is a site plan on the drawing with very specific outline of where the buildings are to be, the length of the buildings, the parking areas. I understand your concern is the impact of this new building on your neighbor and what she may or may not be concerned about in terms of shadow that may or may not occur. I look at this drawing and then see that the building has been very carefully aligned. The length of the building does not have meets the requirements of the zoning bylaw. We do have a number of variances, and I want to ask the applicant if the applicant is willing to build in accordance with the drawing shown as site plan and site statistics A100. In particular, my initial concern was the building and the height of the 2 stories and 3 stories. And in addition, the parking area that is going to be paved with permeable pavers. There's no conditions that have been suggested by staff on this, but I think we need to give some comfort to the community. And since a fair amount of work has been done, we need to recognize the amount of work that has been done and not just give approval to the variances, which may or may not reflect the site plan. So my first question, I guess, is back to the applicant. Are you willing to build in accordance with the site plan as shown?
Yes, we would be. We would be, sorry.
Okay, thank you. That's the length of my comments.
Any further comments or questions? Member McKay.
Yes. Just with respect to the height, is there any room for any movement there? I see that the permitted height is 8.5 meters, so 8.5 meters, and you're asking for 10 meters here. Do you think it's possible?
Yes.
Do you think it's possible to drop that somewhat?
We have tried several variations to drop it. To be honest, the height on the 3rd floor is actually quite limited. And the reason why we are asking for that south pitch of the roof to be a little bit higher is to allow for clear story windows. Otherwise, the bedrooms, the master bedrooms on the top floor wouldn't really have natural sunlight. So hence why we've asked to pitch it up a little bit. And I do want to note that sort of 4 houses down, the zoning bylaw does change to allow for 10 meters. So that's where we sort of cap the 10 meter height, is to sort of be contextual to the houses just to the south.
Thank you.
Is that all, Mr. McKay?
Well, sorry, you mentioned houses to the south, and I'm sorry, I just don't have a drawing in front of me. Is that across the street, across the road?
Sorry, south on Carlaw.
South on Carlaw, okay.
Basically 4 houses down. The height limitation, I guess, changes from 8.5 to 10. So we're sort of like really close to basically being allowable if we were 4 houses down, but because we're sort of just north of that line, it's an 8.5 meter height variance. But that's why all the houses sort of on Fulton, and even the two houses just south of Centennial College on the east side of the street is also higher and have the sort of 2.5, 3-story. Yeah, those ones right there are of taller height as well.
All right, thank you for that information.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Okay, see none. Just want to check in again. Are there any conditions of urban forestry on this one? Yes. Yes, and Vanessa, you're aware of the conditions of urban forestry?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Okay, and you have no concerns with it? Okay.
No, we don't. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, members, if there are no further questions, I will take the matter into committee now, which means no further questions to Vanessa or the residents. Okay.
Okay, Madam Chairman, thank you very much. I recommend approval of this variance application, subject to building in accordance with the site plan and site statistics A100. And
You shut off the microphone.
thank you, Mr. Member McKay, for referring me to the building elevations. There are 4 building elevations that I would also like to attach to this approval. And essentially that means that you're not going to get a 4-story house over the entire property, that what you see is what you get. And I think that gives a level of comfort, a level of certainty, and I believe that the applicant has spent some time working out how best this property could be redeveloped.
Okay, could you tell us which drawing numbers, or do you want all the elevations?
I looked at them and thought probably all 4 elevations. There's an east, west, north, and south.
Okay.
Just to make it clear.
Through the chair, we understand the intent. We'll make sure that we in the decision we identify the site plan numbers and all the elevation drawing numbers.
Okay,
thank
perfect.
you.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the application subject to urban forestry conditions and subject to tying the decision with the site plan, including the site statistics, as well as the relevant elevation drawings that demonstrate that the taller portion is restricted to a certain portion of the house to be able to control the height. We have a comment.
So through the chair, the committee, similar to other conditions, worded conditions, we typically for these we tie it to, like, it would be tied to plans.
Yeah.
And there would also be actually, if you could.
Katrine.
Katrine.
Through the chair, I wanted to just say that we would always state that plans be substantially in accordance with rather than in accordance with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so we've been advised by staff in terms of the wording or the language, that it shall be built substantially in accordance with the site plan and the elevation drawings. Is that appropriate? Okay, perfect. May I have a seconder, please? Member Taylor.
I'll second the motion, Madam Chair.
Right, Member Taylor seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? And we have a comment. Yes, it was captured.
Okay.
All right, so let's get that right. We had a motion and a seconder to allow approval, subject to conditions of urban forestry and subject to the condition that it be tied to the site plan and the elevation drawings, so that it be built substantially in accordance with those drawings. We have had both the motion and the seconder. All in favor of this motion? All opposed? Member McKay opposes it. The application is approved as stated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, item 1 has been dealt with. Colin, if we can keep track of the time as well, that would be great. Okay. We now move to item number 4, which was held because we had members in opposition. Item 4 is 1 Ralston Avenue. This is an application. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My apologies. My apologies. I'm trying to run through this. Item 2. We're dealing with item number 2, 13 Musgrave Street. So item 2, 13 Musgrave Street is an application of a minor variance to demolish the existing one-story commercial building and construct a new four-story commercial and residential mixed-use building. And the development is also subject to site plan approval application. And we have with us the agent, Roman Tisap.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning. Good morning, Roman. We also have Louis Mangov and in support. You're with us, Louis or Louis? Louis, can you hear us? Could you say yes or no? Okay, all right. There's this ample time because we are going to be discussing more. Chris Harrison, opposition, representing number 15. You're with us?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. I'm just doing a roll call at this time, so I'll just go through the names. Valerie Fortune Nidari. Valerie Fortune, neighbor to the south. Okay, that's fine. We'll carry on. Dale Pereira in opposition. Are you with us, Dale?
Yes, I am, Madam Chair.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Please stay with us. And Louis and Valerie, please try to connect. If you haven't, if you're finding difficulty, you have a few minutes to fix it. So, committee members, this is an application before us, and we have 15 variances associated with the proposed development. Do you have any questions of the applicant? Member Macaulay.
Madam Chair, if the applicant could do a very short presentation, there's a couple of things I'd like him to address in particular, and that is the setback from the lane and the provision of an additional dedication towards the public lane, and the issue of the stacked parking.
Okay, thank you, Member Macaulay. So, Roman, you heard Member Macaulay. She would like to have a brief presentation on the items she has mentioned. Please proceed. Roman.
Yep.
Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mm-hmm.
So the subject property is located on the south side of Musgrave Street, northwest of Victoria Park and Gerrard Street East. Currently, the property is occupied with a one-story commercial building, and the lands are designated mixed-use areas in the official plan, and that is reflected in the zoning bylaw, which permits commercial and residential uses on the site. What we're proposing, if we could bring up the presentation, if possible. What we are proposing is a four-story mixed-use building. There are proposed retail uses at grade, and then 3 levels of residential uses above. The ground floor does have internal parking spaces, which will be accommodated in a stacker. The reason we require the height variance is that there is a significant grade change between the lane to the south and Musgrave Street to the north.
Supplementary. Sorry, go ahead, Roman.
And to accommodate the parking stackers, we have to provide a larger than normal ground floor clear height. With respect to the lane, we are providing a 1.9 meter, almost 2 meter lane widening that's going to be dedicated to the city. I know we received letters of objection from neighbors on Gerrard Street East that believed that we were encroaching into that, which is not the case. That's going to be dedicated to the city, and it's going to be free and clear of our development. With respect to the variances on page 3 of our presentation, we provide a rationale for each of the variances being requested. If there's something specific that you'd like me to speak to, then I can do so. The variance related, number 4 on our presentation, related to the rear yard setback, that is measured from the enclosure for waste storage, which is under the surface parking lot that would, or surface parking space that would be accessed from the widened laneway. So in reality, the face of the main building is actually 12 meters from the property on the south side of the lane, where we have to request 5, as that is how the zoning examiner has reviewed the variance. Notwithstanding that, the enclosure won't be visible from the laneway. It'll just be a parking space. Notwithstanding the above, the official plan does designate the area mixed use. The strip along Musgrave is currently occupied with a number of one-story, industrial and car repair shops that don't reflect the intent of the official plan, where our application does. Similarly, the variances relating to the intent of the zoning bylaw, we feel are appropriate. We are located within close proximity to higher order transit, namely Victoria Park Station, Main Station, and the Danforth GO. What is being proposed is not out of the ordinary, given the proximity to transit. With respect to the variances being minor in nature, we do require a lot, and that is acknowledged. But we do have a tight site, and we've worked through the site plan process with municipal staff and our consultants to minimize the variances as much as possible and make the site functional from a number of different perspectives. Lastly, we do think this is an appropriate use of the lands. We are implementing the vision of the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and turning Musgrave Street into the mixed-use, pedestrian-oriented environment that the aforementioned documents envision.
Okay, thank you, Roman. Member Macaulay, is that okay?
Yes, thank you. I'm looking for a couple of items. I think it's item number 6 in your variance. And this is where you are requiring a 45-degree angle plane along the rear lot line. In looking at the drawings, and I'm not an expert on angular planes, and I'm not a great expert on math, but at looking at the drawings, when you take the location of that angular plane and the setback, is that from the existing property line, or is it from the new property line after the laneway has been dedicated to the municipality? And does it make any difference?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. The way that the zoning bylaw is written with respect to the angular plane, it is measured from the residential property on the opposite side of the lane. So we apply a 7.5 meter setback from that. We then go 7.5 meters up and measure our angular plane from there. It's only a really small corner of the building that's shown on the screen now.
Right there.
In the future, should the opposite property on the south side of the lane ever go before committee, they will similarly be asked to provide a laneway dedication. And if measured from that new property line, we would not be encroaching into the angular plane.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. I did note, I went out and took a look at, saw how narrow that laneway was, and saw that as part of your site plan application, you're going to be providing a widening. And I believe some of the letters of the residents have also mentioned the laneway and had a concern with that angular plane. You've clarified that for me. Thank you. The second question I have, and you're proposing a stacker parking layout. This is the third application that I've considered with a stacker, parking stacker. I'm not sure how this works. I'm not going to ask you how it works, but I am going to ask you if you have any knowledge of where this is already existing. We've had two other applications. I don't believe that with stackers, I don't believe they've been built. So I'm interested in what experience you've had with stackers and how well they work.
Thank you. Our office has previously proposed parking stackers, generally in projects even outside of Toronto. I don't have specific addresses off the top of my head, but there are numerous projects that do have this system.
And they have been built?
Yes, they have.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. That's all?
If you want a brief explanation on how the parking works, I can provide that.
Member Macaulay, the question is for you.
Yes. Can you provide no, it's all right. I'm not going to ask for an explanation. We can go on to other issues.
Okay. I just want to make a note here that this is going through a site plan application process as well. Staff, I'm sure, are capable and they've looked at all these details and then ensured that this is going to work. So just going to leave it at there. What's before us is the parking requirement. Okay. Member Said.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you very much, Roman, for your presentation. I was listening, somewhere in your presentation, you gave a reason for the 5 parking spot because the area is close to the public transit facilities are there. That's fine. But I'm still thinking about how the variance is minor when we say there is 0 visitor parking and there is 0 accessible parking. So could you please tell me when you say there is site constraint and that's the reason you cannot go for the accessible parking?
Thank you, sir. So one of the site's constraints that we face is that there is a reciprocal easement along the east property line, which provides vehicular access to both our property and 15 Musgrave to the east. The second site constraint we face is the grade change between Musgrave Street and the laneway to the south. We originally had considered providing a row of parking under the ground floor of the building to satisfy the requirements, but we realized this was not feasible as the amount of space that the parking would consume would render a lot of the ground floor useless in terms of the building function and the mechanical rooms and other requirements we would have to satisfy. So we've done our best to provide as much parking as possible. We are always committed to providing accessibility functions, and we have provided an elevator, but it's just we've done as much as we could given the grade change and making those parking spaces work.
Okay, thank you very much, Roman. All right, moving along. If no further questions, let's get into speaking with the members. So we have Louis Mangoff in support. Would you like to say anything, Louis or Louis? Last call, Louis.
Through the chair, he still seems to be having audio issues.
Okay, all right. All right, I will check again once more, but after we've talked to the members in opposition. So Chris Harrison, you're with us?
I am, Madam Chair.
Hi, could you, so you have 5 minutes. Please advise us of your concerns.
Okay, I'll try and be brief through Madam Chair. I'll just preface this quickly by saying my client, Mr. Pereira, does not oppose the development in principle, nor does he oppose urban intensification when it's done at a humane and appropriate scale, but appreciate that he is the most directly affected by this development in the interim. And of the 15 variances, the two that Mr. Pereira has a problem with are really related. They are the height, additional height, and the setback request to go from 5.5 meters to ostensibly 3.67 meters. But I hasten to point out the effective setback, because the east wall of the development has no windows. It doesn't appear to be counted as a setback, but it's in fact 1.52 or 5 feet from the property line. That's the effective real setback. And as I showed in a sketch that I submitted with our letter that I sent on Mr. Pereira's behalf, without a great deal of advance notice, the overshadowing effect, I'm not sure if you can pull that up from zoning there, or from planning, whoever has that letter with the drawing.
We have it.
In any case, you have it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's probably part 2. Yes. So that shows the real setback of Mr. Pereira's property on the left to the proposed development. The lower sketch, the lower part of that drawing, shows the proposal as proposed. We've sought the opportunity to suggest a solution, which is really about a compromise, largely being made by Mr. Pereira, in that the 4th floor, which is in violation of the height already, simply be cut back 10 feet, 3 meters, and a huge improvement on the daylight factor. Mr. Pereira's property, his building, is primarily daylit from the west side, i.e. the side facing the proposed development. He has virtually no windows, effective windows on the north and south. It's all from the west. So again, he's greatly impacted by this. I'll just quickly add, the third issue is really about privacy, now that the ground floor of the proposed development will be effectively a public access along that shared right-of-way. And I realize this isn't a variance issue, and could be addressed through site plan control, but some sort of an effective and permanent privacy barrier, I think, would not be unreasonable to ask for in masonry or the equivalent, a durable privacy barrier at least 7 feet high, so that Mr. Pereira's privacy can be respected by the sudden intensification. So that's, use my 5 minutes, I think.
Okay.
I know people are getting hungry, but yeah, I'll leave it there. And just hopefully that clarifies Mr. Pereira's concerns.
No, that's great. Thank you, Chris. And we appreciate your letter, and especially your diagrams really help. Before you leave, just one quick question. All these recommendations that you've presented to us, were they discussed with Roman or the owner of the building?
Well, no, I did try and discuss them with planning, and the name I was given in the planning department.
Okay.
Unfortunately, she was away. Appreciate we've had less than 2 weeks.
I see. Okay.
To respond to her. And I would be very happy. I've left numerous messages with planning to discuss. No, I didn't reach out to the applicant directly. I didn't think that was appropriate. As it's better if I just deal with, I think, the city first, and the city can be the mediator between the two. And Mr. Pereira is very open to that.
Okay, no, that's great. I just wanted to have that clarification. I know it's going through site plan control, and you did the right thing in reaching out to the planning staff, but just because your diagrams were quite, illustrative in the sense that exactly showing what you were looking for, I thought you would have had a chance to speak with the applicant or Roman. But anyways, we'll circle back with you once we discuss this with Roman. Thank you for your time. Oh, question, Member Macaulay.
Thank you. I'm looking for the letter. I think I read it, but I'll ask you directly. Does Mr. Pereira live in the adjacent building? I was out there and it's a long building. I didn't know whether there was apartment units in there or whether it was strictly an industrial building.
No, Mr. Pereira resides there and uses it as an artist studio.
Okay.
Both in conformance with the permitted uses for the CR.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that clarification. If no further questions, I'll move on to Valerie Fortune Niduri. Valerie, you're with us? Okay, no? Okay, so Valerie, we see that you're here, but we can't hear your audio. Okay, I'll go to the next person, but I'll give you a few minutes to check your audio settings. I'm not sure. I know Chris was representing Mr. Pereira, but Mr. Pereira has also signed in. Is he online with us? Okay. Mr. Pereira.
Yes, I'm here, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Mr. Pereira, we would like to hear from you. If you have anything in addition to say with to what your agent Chris has spoken to us about.
I think Mr. Harrison has outlined my concerns very well. I would just like to point out to the committee that I am an artist, a professional artist, and part of the reason I chose this property is because it has 6 5x7 very large windows along the west side of the property. And of course, as an artist, I treasure natural sunlight. I have lived here for 23 years, and I think I'm open to change. I mean, I think the street will benefit from change, but I think if there is a way that I can maintain at least some natural light in my building at certain times of day, I would greatly appreciate that. And also, of course, as Chris Harrison has pointed out, the amount of privacy that I have now is very great. There is no one at 13 Musgrave during the night, for example. And with the 6 units that are being added next door, there will be just a tremendous amount of people walking directly down my driveway. And of course, they'll have a great view right inside of the windows along that west side of the property. So those are my 2 biggest concerns that I think Chris has spoken to as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pereira. Members of the committee, any questions? So, Mr. Pereira, we will speak with Roman and see what Roman has in response to your concerns. I see none, so no questions for Mr. Pereira. I'm going to check for the last time. Louis, are you there in support? Hello, Louis Mangoff or Louis Mangoff? Okay. No, okay. We don't seem to be able to connect with you.
Through the chair, he's still having audio issues.
He's having audio issues. Okay, I'm going to check with Valerie Fortune Niduri. Valerie. Valerie, are you with us? She's also having audio issues. Okay, there's only so much we can wait, right? Yeah, we have to proceed. We have to take this matter into further processing. Okay, so Louis and Valerie, unfortunately, we've been unable to connect with you. Our apologies. I'm not sure what's going on there. But we need to proceed. Okay, so I'm going to now turn back to Roman. Roman, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Madam Chair.
Okay, so Roman, you heard the concerns from Mr. Harrison and Mr. Pereira with regards to the height and the sunlight issues and the privacy along the west side. So how would you like to address these concerns?
I just want to start that we only did receive the letter from Mr. Harrison last week. We noticed that it was posted on the city's AIC website, and that's how we found out. So again, we've had minimal time to review and consider their concerns. Notwithstanding that, my client did provide Mr. Pereira with a copy of the plans that we brought to the committee a few months ago, and we had not heard anything since. So it's hard to scramble with such little notice. Notwithstanding that, regarding the setback, the opening or the 5.5 meter setback is required when there are openings on a main wall that faces a side yard. Where there are no openings, no setback is required. So we've only included that variance out of abundance of caution. Should we, through the site plan approvals process, have to reconfigure the building and require a window on the east side to provide sunlight to a bedroom or anything in that case. Notwithstanding that, we aren't contravening any bylaw with respect to the current proposed side yard setback. Additionally, we have maintained we're not encroaching into the reciprocal easement that extends along the entire east side of the property, 1.5 meters west on our lands. With regards to the barrier, it's not possible to construct anything in that easement, as even if Mr. Pereira agreed to it, the title, the letter of agreement to construct something in the right of way would not be registered on title. And the only way to address that concern is to have the easement removed entirely through a quitclaim. And that's something that we're willing to explore, but there's no legal means for us to construct this at the moment. With regards to height, we do understand Mr. Pereira's concerns. Our office did undertake a review of building permit applications for the neighboring property, and we have not seen anything that indicates that the residence in 50 Musgrave was constructed legally. Yes, there are permitted uses in the official plan and the zoning bylaw, but we don't see anything that reflects health and safety and fire concerns that accompany a building permit application. With respect to setting back the fourth floor 10 feet, we don't feel that this is feasible. My client intends to live with his family on the fourth floor, and setting back the building so far would render the floor layout unusable.
Okay, thank you very much. Members of the committee, any questions? Oh, Member Said.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Roman, you just mentioned about the fourth floor, and I see there is a variance. I'm talking about variance number 6, where there is a issue regarding the angular plane. So if you cannot make any adjustment on the fourth floor, is that the final thing, like there is no way to address the angular plane issue by making certain changes on the fourth floor?
The angular plane is related to the south elevation and not the east elevation that affects Mr. Pereira's property. If we had more notice to address these concerns, we could explore it. This process has been long and expensive for my client with the site plan approval application, and we had no intention of deferring the application after receiving concerns a week bore our hearing. With COVID and the entire process, it's been something that my client just wants to get on with. And again, as mentioned, we've provided plans to Mr. Pereira previously.
All right, thank you, Roman, for that. Member State, I'd just like to again remind that this is going through a site plan process with the planning department. If there were issues with this, we would have certainly received a staff report from planning expressing concerns or their position on it. We didn't hear anything from them. The concerns raised by Mr. Pereira and his agent, Mr. Harrison, are definitely, we heard them today and we've considered those. But I'm going to leave it in the hands of, community planning, between community planning and Roman and his client to see if there's any opportunity to make those changes through that process. What we have before us are 9 variances and we have to run the 4 tests and make a decision on this application. Okay, thank you. Members of the committee, any further questions for Roman? I think we've had enough. We've had a good hearing on this one. I'm open to any critical questions at this time, though. I see none. Okay, so we take the matter into committee now. No further questions of Roman or any of the persons. Any comments, or are you prepared for a motion? Member Macaulay.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make some comments. I went out to take a good look at this site, and I think the proposal is a good proposal in that it's going to bring a renewal to a section of the city that probably needs some changes. I'm not concerned about the parking issue. There's shoppers right across the road. There's areas. I'm not 100% happy in giving a decision today. I would like to defer this application for 2 weeks, or actually it'll have to be a month because it won't come back until January, to allow the owner and Mr. Pereira with planning staff to have further discussions.
Member Macaulay, if I can just interject here, the advice I've received from staff is that this is a TEY application, and there's no way this application can be brought before 6 months.
6 months?
There's a big backlog there. That's why we're taking their applications. You need to understand there's a big backlog there.
And the adjacent owner has not had very much time to
I think there's
consider.
there's still an opportunity through the site plan approval process, as I understood, Mr. Pereira and his agent have connected with or will be in contact with the planning department and see if there's an opportunity to work through that process to, talk about any barriers, or I think those are very site plan related issues that could be dealt with through that process. So I don't see, in my opinion, I don't see there will be any benefit in deferring this application. A lot of these things that have been raised can be addressed through the site plan process, which is currently ongoing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comment or question? All right, we're at 12:45 and we have to make a decision on this application so that we can proceed with the break as well as to switch to the PM session. All right, no further comments. May I have a motion on this application? Member
Well,
McKay.
Madam Chair, there are no urban forestry condition in respect of this application, so I'm prepared to put forward a motion that we approve the application as shown.
All right. Approve the application? Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the application by Mr. McKay, May I have a seconder? Member Said?
Madam Chair, I second the motion for approval of this application.
All in favor of this motion? All opposed? Member Macaulay opposes it. The motion carries. The application has been approved and there are no conditions. Thank you. At this point,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you very much. At this point, we will take a
Through the chair, the actual 4-hour time is actually closer. My calculation was off. It's actually closer to 1:30, but I will leave it up to the chair whether she would like to take a break now
Okay.
or.
Members of the committee, would you like to take a break now? We have almost 45 minutes before we have to switch. Would you like to break at this point or tie it with the switching? I'm in your hands. You need to let me know. No? Let's carry on till 1:30?
Madam Chair, I was going to suggest, well, maybe we try for 1:15. Really, I think that's kind of the the ultimate time limit when washroom and food breaks are needed.
Okay, perfect. All right. That is a very appropriate comment, Gary. All right, so we will continue for now. We will break at 1:15. We'll see around that time as to what the status of the next item is. So we will continue for now. So we will. So we have dealt with item number 2. We can now go to item number 4. And item number 4 is 1 Ralston Avenue. The application before us is a minor variance application to construct a new 2-story detached dwelling, and we have before us 4 variances. We have with us the agent, Muhammad Ibrahim. Muhammad, you are with us?
Yes.
All right, perfect. We also have 2 members who have registered in opposition, Gordon Fernandez, Sabrina Vela.
Yes, I'm here. Madam Chair and committee members, it's Gordon Fernandez here. I'm speaking on behalf of, I'm a resident of Ralston Avenue and all.
Okay, and Sabrina is with you?
She was with me.
Okay.
She's temporarily stepped aside, but I'll be speaking on our
Okay,
behalf.
perfect. Perfect. That's all I wanted to know. Then we have Stephanos Polonifus. Stephanos or Stephanos. Are you with us, Mr. Polonifus?
Through the chair, he seems to be having audio issues.
Okay. All right. That's okay. Mr. Polonifus, if you're hearing us, you still have a few minutes to connect. Hello? Okay. We will proceed, but we will check back with you again, Mr. Stephanos. All right. Members of the committee, we have this application before us. We also have the agent with us. Would you like to have, do you have any questions for the agent at this time, or would you like to have a presentation? No? Okay. Muhammad Ibrahim. Muhammad?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Do you have anything to say to the committee or present something before we move on to speaking with the members in opposition?
I would like to hear the opposition first.
Okay, perfect.
If they have any objections.
I'm sure they have. That's why they've registered, but we will give them a chance. Okay, thank you for confirming that, Mohammed. We now move to Gordon Fernandez. Gordon?
Sure. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Gordon Fernandez. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my wife, Sabrina. We are longtime residents on Ralston Avenue, And I want to make it known first that we are pro-development. I think our street definitely benefits from investment and redevelopment of this neighborhood. So we have done a renovation ourselves to our property, and there are other people that have as well in the street, and it's only enhanced the neighborhood. So we are pro-development. What I do want to make known over here is that we think that I think it's important that there's a guideline that we're following, and that there. I know there's going to be some reasonable variances that may come up along the way. Some of the variances on this application I thought were a little bit that were concerning, and so I've asked to speak at this. There are a number of elderly neighbors on our street that are not tech savvy. And are concerned about the development. They're also, this is also a neighborhood where typically people don't like to ruffle feathers, so they would not voice their concerns. However, there has been discussion in the group, and I thought it might make sense to at least represent some of the views shared by neighbors on the street. Hence the reason why I've filed my concern or my objection. So my concerns are primarily focused on the side variation of the property, the minimum setbacks from the property lines. The way the development is currently proposed at 1 Ralston, there would be roughly about 18 inches or 1.5 feet of room on either side of the property. And the concern that we have is just in the neighborhood, we live in a nice neighborhood where there's some decent space between each home, call it roughly 3 to 3.5 meters between homes. And the size of this development, at least from its extension on either side of the property, potentially might congest the street or the feel of the street. It's the first home on the street. So it is one that is very noticeable as you turn onto our street. Also worth noting is there are 2 doors on either sides of the. Well, actually, sorry. I think there's a door on the side of the elevation where they are asking for the reduced setback. I don't know how that door would be functioning without them requiring to use the property on the other side where there's currently a chain link fence. I don't think a standard door would open along the north side of the property where I believe the garage would be. My concerns other than that are just overall the size of the dwelling. I think there's a family that I know. Number one is a family that owns that property. As a resident of the street, with children of my own, I know that these bungalows need development because kids, have there's a lot of space required for children and play, and I only wish this family the best with their development, and if I could be of any assistance and offer them suggestions, I'm definitely there. I'm a good neighbor. But I think overall, it's just the congestion, the feel of the street, the size of the building, even the height that they're asking for. My request would be that, at least on the height variance, that we look to the neighboring homes that have been developed on the street, and look at the roof lines and height for overall on that street, so that we don't adjust the streetscape and have one dominant building or structure on the street. So, as long as that is somewhat respected, that we don't have this big property on the front end of the street, that we're in line with the neighboring homes, and that the side implications over there. I don't know if that would impact number 3's ability to develop their property in the future, given how close they are moving towards the property line. If they've taken all that into account, that would be the only concerns that I have right now at this point. Hold on, my wife just stepped into the room, Sabrina. I think she may have something to say. Oh, she's just focused on emphasizing the precedent potentially that this might set with other development on the street.
Next to our home.
Yeah.
I just want to remind you, Gordon, that there's only a few seconds left here, so I'd probably
Oh,
give.
I'm complete.
That's
I'm
okay.
done. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
So Sabrina, you have a minute to express or add anything.
Sorry, I wasn't in the room when Gordon was speaking. I was just pretty much, it's the precedent that these variances would set if they were approved. As you know, a lot of these East York bungalows are when they're passed on to new owners, are torn down and rebuilt. So we do expect that to happen on our street. There are several homes still to be built, and I worry that that going so far, variants that are that large would impact those homes, especially the side variance of 1.5 feet. That is that's very narrow, and we don't want homes built on top of homes. We want to keep it airy. We want to keep the homes not overpowering. We want it to be tasteful. We want it to be you know,
A nice street.
a nice street. We have, you know, these limits for a reason, and you know, we want to, if there is a variance, then we want it to be, you know, reasonable.
No, perfect. No, thank you for articulating your concerns very well with us. We certainly heard you, and I think you were quite clear in terms of your concerns with the actual variances. So we will circle back with Mohammed to sort of respond to these concerns. Members of the committee, any questions for Gordon or Sabrina before they leave? See none? Okay, thank you for your time, Gordon, Sabrina. We now again check with Stefanos Polonifis.
Yes, hi there. Sorry I missed you on the call, roll call there.
No problem.
Yeah, I know Gordon very well. You know, we developed as well just last year our home, and we stayed within the variances allowed. We didn't actually go to committee. I think all the homes in our area have kind of the same heights, and you know, 3 feet along on each side of the homes is standard, or in my case, it's 4 feet from our property lines, and I think, you know, keeping it consistent across the street. We're a very small street. We got 15 homes in the area, and we just don't want this, you know, overbearing home just as you know, drive into our street. And I am concerned about 3 Ralston, the neighbor. They are elderly couple that won't probably raise their concerns. Like Gordon said, not tech savvy. So just thought I'd come on here and share their concerns. I used to be their neighbor, like direct neighbors as well there at 1 Ralston. And I think that the 1.5 feet from the property line is a big concern on their side there, on the north side. So I thought I'd just, you know, mention that, and think, you know, you can build a beautiful home with the square feet that's on that property right now. I don't think they need to be that close to the property line. And I think 3 feet's much more reasonable than what they're asking for. That's all I have to say.
Great, thank you so much for your comments. Any questions for Mr. Polonifis? I see none, thank you. Now I'm going to go back to Mohammed Ibrahim. Mohammed.
How are you?
Hi.
Hi. It's almost 2.8 feet that we have on the both sides, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
We have the clearance.
Are you talking about the setbacks here, sir?
No, from the neighbor that they are discussing about, for the neighbor one. So the almost the 3 feet we have on both south and west side is space.
Okay, so let's.
North and south, sorry, north and south.
Okay, yes, you got me confused. So we are looking at the north side setback, right? And you have requested a variance for the north side yard setback. The required is 1.2. You're asking for 0.61. What we heard from the neighbors is that it's tight in their opinion. It's non-minor, and that it may impact the ability of the neighbors, as well as there's apparently a door, and they feel that it would be tight for any access to that door. So now you can respond.
Yeah. My neighbors, which is, I think, so number 3, Ralston, we already talked to them already, and they aware about that one, and she is comfortable with that one before, and she's not in this meeting also right now. That's why. And the door will gonna open inside the house, not outside. Number 2. Number 3, it's a fire rated door, which is by the city has been approved already, which is 45 minutes fire rated. So after that, we don't have any concern with the neighbor of that side.
Okay, so you have spoken with the neighbor on the north side, and
That's right.
they have no concerns with the proposed setback. And in terms of access, there's a 1-hour fire shutter door there
45 minutes.
to the dining room on the main floor, and
That's right.
that is a requirement under the building code, correct?
That's right.
Okay,
That's
all right. Okay, fair enough. Now, with respect to the height, the concerns were raised about the height.
By the city law, 6752. It's up. It can be 8.5.
No,
in East York.
no. According to the zoning bylaw, the maximum permitted height is 7.2 meters. What you're requesting is 8.71.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, because of the the height we are the next door that we have. I think so. If I'm not wrong, number 7 Ralston. They just got the permit of that one also, and 9 Ralston are higher than the size of that size. If you can see in the picture, as you can see right now. I don't have the accurate height for that one, but both are the house in the same street, which are more higher than this height, actually.
So we just spoke with Gordon Fernandez from 7 Ralston, and you're saying that they have a taller height?
I assume, if I'm not wrong, because of the height that I can see.
It's not about seeing, Mr. Ibrahim. It's the actual height dimension. And I didn't hear Gordon say that he received any variance for the height.
It's when we say 7.8, my second floor is only 8 feet height right now, according to the diagram that I have over here.
Okay. Okay, all right. So you heard the concerns raised by Gordon and Mr. Polonafis that, in their opinion, the height of the building or the house was looked higher, and that it would be dominating the streetscape. There were some comments about the streetscape. How would you like to address that concern?
This house is the first house, according to they are completely right. In this neighborhood, this is the first house in this street, and as a developing going around that neighborhood. Number 2 is the heights are normally in East York are going according to. I have been seen couple of more houses around which are more higher than this one also. And this street is already a wider street, and it has also a nice as you can see the diagram as it show, it's completely the way it has been designed. It will not gonna affect any lighting for any of those houses even, or it will not affect any of the air, or also the issue that it's gonna affect the air or anything like that, because this is the first house from the O corner. If you see in this street.
Yeah, we can see that, but we just wanted to make sure that there was no variances in the neighborhood.
Right.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Can I just have a quick question for Gordon at 7 Ralston? So Carrie, can you have Gordon and Sabrina back?
Perfect. Yeah, we're back here.
Perfect.
Hi there, Madam Chair and committee.
Yes, please. We just heard a comment from Mohammed Ibrahim that there have been new developments on the street, and he assumes, or he's under the impression, that they're taller than the permitted height. Can you clarify? And he did mention your address as well.
Yeah, so our house was built under old bylaws, so we had our permits issued to us, I believe. Sorry. Anyways, we had our permits issued, I believe, in 2011, which were our original permits. I know there were some changes and revisions to bylaws, and we came in for variances with Peter Higgins, but we didn't come in on a variance on the height. There was a variance to the length of the property. We had a bump out in the back for our kitchen. But there was not at the time, I believe the variance, the standard rate at the time that we went was 8.5 feet, and we built to that. Sorry,
Okay.
8.5 meters, not 8.5 feet. But I do want to point one thing out. Some of the comments made by the owners of number one as to the acceptability of the neighbor's building encroaching on the north side. I don't believe that to be a reasonable response because the neighbor did not voice that to me.
Okay.
The
So
neighbor in
Gordon,
question. So I don't mean to, yeah.
Gordon, I'm a little confused
In terms
here because staff just advised me that in 2018, a variance was obtained from the committee for 8.8 meters for 7 Ralston Avenue. Were you not the owner of this house at the time?
Sorry, I was, and I did have a architect go out to, or Peter Higgins go out to get the variances for us. When we measured, they had put down 8.8 just to go a little bit over just in case, but the actual structure actually measures 8.5.
Okay, so you have a 8.5 tall building, and Mr. Ibrahim is asking for 8.71.
Okay, so and I think in my comments that I put on the record there is I'm fine with the building as long as the roof lines are basically in line.
That's a roof design issue, not a height issue. So that's beyond my jurisdiction or the committee's jurisdiction.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? Okay.
Fair enough.
I just want to confirm that. So thank you for that confirmation, Mr. Gordon. Can we have Muhammad Ibrahim back, please? Mr. Ibrahim.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for your patience. Yes, we did get confirmation that a variance was secured for 7 Ralston for additional height. So thank you for raising that to our attention. Any further questions? Mr. Taylor.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I have a question for Gordon.
Can you have your mic on, please?
Sorry, Gordon, I'm looking at your house on Google Street View. And can you tell me, please, what your north side yard is in meters?
Sorry, through the chair, who are we asking?
Gordon.
Thank you.
7 Ralston.
7 Ralston, yes. Sorry, I'm speaking to Gordon.
Hi there. So I don't have my plans in front of me. I mean, it's built as per spec. So I believe it's 3 feet, a minimum of 3 feet, which would have been the bylaw in time when the permits were issued back in 2011. And I believe the current ask right now is for 2 feet. Sorry. Our setback on our north side is 3, I believe, is at a minimum of 3 feet. It's as per the plans that were approved by committee or approved. Actually, we didn't even go to committee for that because that was the permit in 2011, as per the bylaws in place at the time of application. The neighbor at number 1 Ralston is asking for 2 feet right now.
Okay, so this is the setback between 7 and 9, correct, Gordon?
That's right.
Okay.
The setback between 7 and 9 that was approved is what we built to, which is, I believe, 3 feet or just over 3 feet. I don't have my plans in front of me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have the plans?
No, we don't have that plan, but we're looking at the street view only.
Yeah. So I'm almost 100% positive it's 3 feet.
Okay. Fair enough. That's okay.
There was no, we used Peter Higgins to design that. I'm sure most of you know Peter. He's in with you guys on a semi-regular basis. And
Yeah, that's fine. We just wanted it to understand the streetscape, and that's all. Yeah, so we have the street view on, and we're looking at it. But again, as I said, this was only for us to understand the streetscape and what's happened on your property along the street. So we see that, and it's under construction right now on the aerial. I'm not sure if it's 3 feet, but I will go with what you say. I think it's 3 feet between the two houses.
no, it's definitely not.
Okay.
We have an outdoor swing. So for fire rated doors, we have an outswinging door, and that outswinging door is completely on our property.
I see. Okay, makes sense. All right, no problem. So the request before us by Mr. Ibrahim is for 2 feet, 0.61 setback. So we were just trying to understand the setbacks on the street. So thank you for that information.
But before we finish, the setbacks between the two houses over there is over 6 feet between my house and number 9.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Can we have Mr. Ibrahim back? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ibrahim, for waiting. We just wanted to get some confirmation. So, committee members, any questions for Ibrahim? Member Macaulay?
Again, just a small question, perhaps staff can clarify. Looking at your building elevations, I would think that this is a 3-story building. You've provided your drawings to the city staff, and they have confirmed that this is only, in their interpretation, 2 stories? You don't need a variance?
No. It's not on the zoning notice. It's not on the application. So it's a 2-story.
Okay.
Okay. Because the story is measured from the established grade, and yes, on the elevation it may look like that, but I'm sure they've done their investigation. So we're going with the zoning notice and the public notice. So it's not a 3rd story. It's only 2 stories. Okay, if there are no further questions for Mr. Muhammad Ibrahim, let's take the matter into committee. And any comments at this time? See none. If there are no comments, Member McKay, comments.
I was just going to say I'm troubled by the side yard setback. That's one issue or problem that I have.
So you've concerned with the variance number 3, which is the required side yard setback? Okay.
Madam Chair, just to comment on that side yard setback, I noticed that they have to install fire-rated windows and doors because there isn't sufficient space. It's not desirable to have to go to that next step of fire rating if you can, in fact, achieve the appropriate space.
Okay, but they have the fire-rated door, 45-minute swinging inside the house, so not outside, and the fire-rated on the windows. Okay.
To say thanks. That was a helpful comment by Member Macaulay.
Thank you, members. If there are no further questions or comments, are you prepared to put forward a motion? Member Taylor.
Madam Chair, I find this proposal to be very consistent with recent developments on this street. It's a street that's evolving. Good examples include number 7, 9, 11, and 8. I think this house is going to be very consistent with those homes, and there are others on the street as well. I find the variances to be totally in keeping with the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and I move for approval subject to urban forestry condition 1.
Thank you, Member Taylor. May I have a seconder, please? Member Said?
Madam Chair, I second the motion for approval subject to the condition of urban forestry.
All in favor of this motion? All opposed? Member Macaulay opposes the motion, but the motion gets carried. The application is approved, subject to conditions of urban forestry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to 1:14, which is excellent timing. We will take a break. This will allow us to switch from the AM session to the PM session as well.
Through the chair, you may wish to let people know that after the break, when we reconvene, all the viewers who are watching on YouTube, please, when we reconvene, please log into, or please click on the PM stream that's on the City Planning YouTube channel. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin, for that. At this point, we are going to take a break. Thank you, everyone.
That's true. We did get a slow start.
Yeah.
We got a lot. I'm just counting them up.